Hey, do you want your tambourine?
Oh, yeah, I do.
If you want to read, I was like, you want to read? She's supposed to sit there and not touch me. The doctor told her she's probably not contagious. We don't want Larry, you're here to sing.
I'm okay. It's because you're with me now. If I could do really, don't beat me up. He's freaking out there. He says, "How?" Lay down the coffee. I got Welcome, everyone. Good morning. I just wanted to ask everyone to silence their cell phones if they have forgotten to do so. And today we have some additional musical accompaniment. I don't know how long she'll last, and she can't talk, but apparently she can sing. So, we start today's service with a brief passage, not included in your books.
We stand this day, all of us, in the presence of our God, youth and elders, women and men, those close to tradition, and those who have been estranged. All are welcome in this community of prayer. Around the world, all Israel greets this holy day. We stand with them, a people united by our history and faith, linked in mind and heart to generations past, who stood before God to be cleansed of their sins. In Russia, Poland, Germany, and Spain, Morocco, Egypt, Brazil, and India. Our great-grandparents are here with us today, and our great-great-grandchildren as well. All are present in memory and hope. We stand this sacred morning, all of us as one.
So please turn to page 292. Hear the word of the Eternal. When you come to appear before me, bring me no more vain offerings. Incense is an abomination to me. New moon and Sabbath are the calling of assemblies. Iniquity with solemn assembly I cannot endure. Therefore I will hide my eyes from you. Though you make many prayers, I will not listen, so long as your hands are full of blood. Wash yourselves, make yourselves clean, remove the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Cease to do evil, learn to do good. Seek justice, correct oppression. Defend the orphan, plead for the widow. Seek good and not evil, that you may live. And so the eternal God of all being will be with you.
With justice will all the waters, and righteousness as a mighty king.
I'd like to invite up Steve Eisenberg, on page 293.
On page 293, Day of Decision. This is the day of God. On this day, we are called to the sanctuary by a summons as exalting and enduring as the everlasting hills. Prepare to meet your God, O Israel. This is the day of awe. What are we as we stand in your presence, O God? A leaf in the storm, a fleeting moment in the flow of time, a whisper lost among the stars. This is the day of decision. Today we invoke you as the molder of our destiny. Help us to mend the evil of our ways, to right the heart's old wrongs. On the Sabbath of the soul, inscribe us for blessing in the book of life. This is the day of our atonement. We would return to you as penitent children long to return to a loving parent. We confess our sins on this day, knowing that the gates of repentance are always open. Receive us with compassion and bless us with your forgiving love. Please join me in reading responsively. We are tenants in the house of life. Our days on earth are but a span.
Time like a river rolls on, flowing year after year into the sea of eternity.
Its passing leaves bitter memories of hours misspent.
Now they come back to accuse us, and we tremble to think of them.
But your purpose gives meaning to our fleeting days. Your teaching guides us, and your love sustains us.
To you we pray for the knowledge and strength to live responsibly.
Deliver us from bondage to the past. Release us from the stranglehold of evil habits. Make us free to start afresh.
Let this be for us the beginning of a new season of life and health.
Liberate us from the fear of death and from the scornful laughter that mocks our labors.
Though our lives be short, let them be full. Hold our mortal days in hands as eternal hopes.
We, dust and ashes, are endowed with divinity. Compounded of clay, we live in dimensions clay cannot enter, regions where the air vibrates with your presence.
Judge us less harshly than we can judge ourselves. Judge us with mercy, O fountain of life, in whose light we see life.
Not for
ourselves
ourselves,
alone do we pray, not for ourselves alone, but for all your children.
Knowing our failings, let us be patient with those of others. Knowing our will to goodness, may we see in others a dignity that is human, a beauty inviolate forever. Every soul, O God, is precious in your sight, and every life is your gift to us. Yet one stands poised to strike the next. Armies uproot vines and fig trees as war and war's alarms make all afraid.
Not for ourselves alone, therefore, not for ourselves alone, but for all your children to do you know your will.
And we turn to page 297 and invite Terry, please.
O God, where shall I find you? Hid is your lofty place. And where shall I not find you, whose glory fills all space? You form the world abiding within the soul alway. Refuge to those who seek you, ransom for those who stray. Oh, how shall mortals praise you when angels strive in vain, or build for you a dwelling whom worlds cannot contain. Longing to draw near you, with all my heart I pray. Then going forth to seek you, you meet me on the way. I find you in the marvels of your creative might, in visions in your temple, in dreams that bless the night. Who say they have not seen you, your heavens refute their word. Their hosts declare your glory, though never voice be heard.
We continue on page 302.
El Utas Mot God. You are tremendous in power, O God, glorious in being, mighty forever, and awesome in your works. Sovereign, supreme, and exalted, you abide forever, the high and holy one. Therefore, all who acclaim you sing your song. The upright do well to acclaim you.
The mouths of the upright acclaim you, the words of the righteous bless you, the tongues of the faithful exalt you, the hearts of all who seek holiness sanctify you.
The assembly of hosts of your people, the house of Israel in every generation, glorify your name in song. O sovereign God, holy and great, let your name be praised forever in heaven and on earth.
Blessed is the eternal, sovereign God, the God of wonders who delights in song, the only one, provider of the universe.
Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, Belahad Rachirtei, Yamlit Malchutei, Lechayecha, Yomecha, Uchayecha, for Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Ubishad Karim, Bimru, Amen. Yehei Rabbah Vorach, Le'olam Amen Maya, Yitvarach, Nishtabach, V'pa'ar V'ramah Mitnaseh, Yitzadar, Yitzaleh, Yitzaleh, Shemei Kusha Brechu, Le'elam Yikol Perchata V'shirata, Tush Bechata V'le'emata, Dam Nidima Gama, Bimru, Amen.
Let the glory of God be extolled, and God's great name be hallowed in the whole world, whose creation God willed. May God's rules soon prevail in our own day, our own lives, and the life of all Israel, and let us say Amen. Let God's great name be blessed forever and ever. Let the name of the Holy One, the Blessed One, be glorified, exalted, and honored, though God is beyond all the praises, songs, and adorations that we can utter, and let us say
Amen.
Please rise for the Lord. Praise the eternal to whom our praise is due.
Praise the eternal to whom our praise is due, now and forever.
Maker of darkness and dawn, the the God who opens the gates of mercy, who gives light to all who wait forgiveness, be with us on this atonement day.
God of times and seasons, be with us this day.
God of hope and joy, be with us this day.
God of the loving heart, be with us this day.
Be with us as we look for strength to be free, freedom to struggle against those who worship power, and power to resist all who would oppress us.
God of freedom and right, be with us this day.
O God, O one and only God, you have made each of us unique and formed us to be united in one family of life. Be with us, Eternal One, as we seek to unite our lives with your power and your love.
We proclaim now your oneness and our humble unity. We claim your creative power in the universe and in ourselves, all that binds world to world and heart to heart.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Kibod Malachuto, Leolam Vaed.
Seated.
Now up to, we're on the bottom of page 306.
Yahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavecha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol ka'amecha, v'hayu ha'dvarim ha'eleh, asher anochi nitzavacham hayom al levanecha, v'shilantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivcha leveitecha, u'b'nefshecha b'derech, v'shavtecha b'zivnecha, v'kushatam b'hod al yanecha, v'hayu v'tokot b'einecha, v'ktatam al mizuzot b'kecha, v'b'sharecha.
Hear, O Israel, eternal is our God, eternal is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Okay, 307. Okay. You shall love, you shall love the eternal God with all your mind, with all your strength, with all your being. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be something before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates.
למען תזכרו יחדיכם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Mindful of all my disposed to them, so shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I am your eternal God, let God be your God. I am your eternal God.
In this world, waiting to be redeemed, hearts cry out, and not our dearest hopes at last come true. Many are our defeats, yet how many are deliverances? After servitude to Pharaoh, we chose service to God. After exile in Babylon, we rebuild God's shrine. Yesterday's wounds, so nearly fatal, began to heal, and Israel, living still, plants new seeds of redemption.
Let the time come when all the peoples will be joined in bonds that cannot break. The nations will yet be at peace. The earth will yield good fruit. Mountains and waters will flow. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. And all will sing with one accord.
among the gods that are worshipped. Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, doing wonders? A new song the redeemed sang to your name. At the shore of the sea, saved from destructions, they proclaim your sovereign power. Eternal will reign forever and ever.
Sur Israel, Kumar Ezrat Israel, Kumar Ezrat Israel, Golenu, Adonai Sebaot, Shema Kadosh, Israel, Baruch atah Adonai,
All right.
Adonai Sefatatita, Uviagitahilateka, Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Eloheinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rael, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagidor Me'anorah, El Elyon, Rom Chasadim Tovim, V'chonei Hakol, V'sofer Kastelo B'mahon, U'mevivu V'B'B'Nehem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava.
Sacreinu Rakai, Elekaret, Zakari, Sacreinu Rakai, Elekaret, Zakari. Lemanaka, Elohim. Lemanaka, Elohim Chaim. Lemanaka, Elohim. Lemanaka, Elohim Chaim. Elohim. V'sefer HaKaim, Lemanaka, Elohim Chaim. Lemanaka, Elohim. Lemanaka, Elohim Chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai, Elohei Abraham, Yitzhak, Sarah.
Atah Eloheinu, Michael, Avraham, Shira, Michael, Chaim, V'Chesed, Michael, Yaakov, V'Rachamim Rabim, Nefer Kohanim, Umatzir Asurim, Umefayeh Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha V'Gvuro, Umidomela, Melech B'Minim, Umefayeh, Umashmiach Yeshua, Michamocha Aharach רחמים, זוכר יצורה, לחיים ברחמים, לחיים ברחמים, ולמען חיות תבוא, ברוך אתה אדוני, לחיי הכל.
We're on page 310. You might, O God, your might, O God, is everlasting.
Help us to use our strength for good and not for evil.
You are the source of life and blessing.
Help us to choose life for ourselves and our children.
You are the support of the fallen.
Help us to lift up the fallen.
You are the author of freedom.
Help us to set free the captive.
You are our hope in death as in life.
Help us to keep faith with those who sleep with us.
Your might, O God, is everlasting.
Help us to use our strength for good.
Please be seated.
We continue on page 11.
Please join me responsibly. On Rosh Hashanah we reflect, on Yom Kippur we consider. Who shall live for the sake of others? Who dying shall leave a heritage of life?
Who shall burn with fires of greed? Who shall drown in the waters of despair?
Whose hunger shall be for the good? Who shall thirst for justice and right?
Whose tongue shall be a thrusting sword? Whose words shall make for peace?
Who shall be plagued by fear of the world? Who shall strangle for the lack of friends?
Who shall rest at the end of the day? Who lies sleepless on a bed of pain?
Who shall go forth in the quest for truth?
Who shall be locked in the prison of self?
Who shall be serene in every storm? Who shall be troubled by the passing breeze?
Who shall be poor in the midst of possessions? Who shall be rich and kept with their law?
Repentance, prayer, and charity, these return us to our God.
Forgive the past, renew for tomorrow. May we go forth with rejoicing to hear great goodness.
Let us proclaim the sacred power of this day. It is awesome and full of dread. For on this day your dominion is exalted, your throne established in steadfast love. There in truth you reign. In truth you are, judge and arbiter, counsel and witness. You write and you seal, you record and recount. You remember deeds long forgotten. You open the books of our days. And what is written there proclaims self, for it bears the signature of every human being.
The great show of waters sounded, the still small voice is heard. The angels, gripped by fear and trembling, declare God. This is the day of judgment, for even the hosts of heaven are judged, as all who dwell on earth stand afraid before him.
As the shepherd seeks out the flock and makes the sheep pass under the staff, so do you muster and number and consider every soul, setting the bounds of every creature's life and decreeing its destiny.
Rosh Hashanah Ekateru, Ulyom Shom Kippur Ekateru, Rosh Hashanah Ekateru, Ulyom Shom Kippur Ekateru.
On Rosh Hashanah it is written, on Yom Kippur it is sealed. How many shall pass on, and how many shall come to be? Who shall live, and who shall die? Who shall see ripe age, and who shall not? Who shall perish by fire, and who by water? Who by sword, and who by beast? Who by hunger, and who by thirst? Who by earthquake, and who by plague? Who by strangling, and who by stoning? Who shall be secure, and who shall be driven? Who shall be tranquil, and who shall be troubled? Who shall be poor, and who shall be rich? Who shall be humbled, and who exalted? This is your glory. You are slow to anger, ready to forgive. It is not the death of sinners you seek, but that they should turn from their ways and live. Until the last day you wait for them, welcoming them as soon as they turn to you.
You have created us and know what we are. We are but flesh and blood.
Our origin is dust, and dust is our end. Each of us is a shattered earth, grass that must wither, a flower that will fade, a shadow moving on, a cloud passing by, a particle of dust floating on the wind, a dream soon forgotten.
But you are the sovereign, the everlasting God.
Please rise, if anybody got any questions.
Okay, the middle of page 2. I'll be reading responses.
Kadosh
We sanctify your name on earth, even as all things to the end of time and space. Proclaim your holiness, and in the words of the prophet we say,
Holy, holy, holy is the God of all being. The fullness of the whole earth is God's glory.
source of our strength, sovereign God, how majestic your presence in all the earth.
Blessed is the glory of God in heaven and earth.
You alone are our God and our Creator. You are our ruler and our helper. And in your mercy you reveal yourself in the sight of all the living. Ani Adonai Elohechem. I am Adonai, your God.
The eternal one shall reign forever. Your God is thine from generation to generation. Hallelujah.
Please be
To all generations we will make known your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips.
Eternal God, cause all your works to stand in awe before you, and knowledge to make you tremble at your presence. Let all the things revere you, and all creation turn to you in worship. Let them all become a single family, doing your will with a perfect heart. For well we know, eternal God, that yours is the majesty, yours is the might, and awesome is your name in all creation. Bring honor to your people, glory to those who revere you, hope to those who seek you, and courage to those who trust you. Bless your name with gladness and your city with joy, and cause the light of redemption to dawn for all who dwell on earth. Then the just shall see and exalt, the upright be glad, and the faithful sing for joy. Violence shall rage no more, and evil shall vanish like smoke. The rule of tyranny shall pass away from the earth, and you alone shall have dominion over all your works, as it is written. The eternal one shall reign forever. Your God is on from generation to generation. Hallelujah.
You are holy, awesome is your name. There is no God but you.
The God of all being is exalted by justice. The holy God is sanctified by righteousness. Blessed is the eternal one who rules in holiness.
The house of Israel, holiness this day. The house of Israel is called to holiness, to a covenant with the eternal for all time.
We are called to serve the Most High. May we rejoice in this heritage forever.
May this day add meaning to our lives. Let contrition awaken our conscience. Our common worship unite us in love. Our memories of bondage impel us to work to help the oppressed.
On this day of atonement, we pray for awareness. Let love and compassion grow among us, and goodness be our daily care.
This day may we find well-being.
Amen.
This day may we discover the eternal strength that abides among us.
Amen.
This day may we be helped to a life that is whole.
Amen.
We give thanks
That makes hope to follow our days, and pray for wisdom to guide our lives like Torah. May our redemptive labors make us glad, our struggle for purity not fail, and our striving for good bring us joy. Blessed is the vision of holiness that exalts the house of Israel in the day of atonement.
We'd say, Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'amecha Yisrael, u'tefilatan ve'atavat Abel, u'tehi ve'etzot tamid, Avodat Yisrael Amecha. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha letatecha, v'yerecha navot. She'otecha letatecha, v'yirara navot.
You are with us in our prayer, in our love and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and to do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, and pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. We rejoice, down at the bottom of 320. Let us rejoice in the light of day, in the glory and warmth of the sun, in the reawakening of life to duty and labor.
We rejoice in the light of day.
In the earth with its hills and valleys, its widespread fields of grain, its food and hidden treasures.
We rejoice in the beauty of the earth.
In the love of fathers and mothers who have nurtured our lives. With his blessings we have gone forth to our work in the world.
We rejoice in the love of parents.
In the children who bless our homes, whose eager minds and hearts are the promise of tomorrow.
We rejoice in our children.
In friends who share our sorrows and joys, in the fullness of the abundant light, and the serenity of old age, and the peace that comes at last.
We rejoice and shall rejoice forevermore.
Thank you. Invite Elena.
O God, and God of all generations, bless us with the threefold benediction of the Torah. May God bless you and keep you.
It is God's will.
Breathe, you are with us in prayer. You are in love and are back, and longing to feel your presence and to do your will. You are still clear voice within us. May the light of God's presence shine upon you and be gracious to you.
It is God's will.
May God bestow favor upon you and give you peace.
It is God's will.
May those descend on all Israel and all the world. Bless us, O God, one and all, with the light of your presence. For in the light of your presence, we find the fullness of life, faithful love and charity, compassion, blessing, and peace.
Help us, O God of peace, by our deeds to inscribe ourselves in the book of life and blessing, righteousness and peace. Praise be the one who teaches Israel and all peoples to love and pursue peace, and to bring it to all the earth.
Please turn to page 324.
For transgressions against God, the Day of Atonement atones. For the transgressions of one human being against another, the Day of Atonement does not atone, and they have made peace with one another.
I hereby forgive all who have hurt me, all who have wronged me, whether deliberately or inadvertently, whether by word or by deed. May no one be punished on my account. As I forgive and pardon those who have wronged me, may those who I have harmed forgive and pardon me, whether I acted deliberately or inadvertently, whether by word or by deed.
Eloheinu, Eloheinu, Avot lefanecha, lefilateinu, ve'om tzivonam, מבחינתנו.
O God,
God of our mothers and fathers, grant that our prayers may reach you. Do not be deaf to our pleas, for we are not so arrogant and stiff-necked as to say before you, our God and God of all ages, we are perfect and have not sinned. Rather do we confess, we have gone astray, we have sinned, we do not transgress.
please take a few moments for silent meditation as you leave.
May the words of my mouth, O Lord, and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Verati qui, veglioni mi, levaneca, Adonai, to me, Vico Ali.
Please turn to page 327 for the Asham.
among us is righteous enough to say, I have not sinned? We are arrogant, brutal, careless, destructive, egocentric, false, greedy, heartless, insolent, and joyless. Our sins are an alphabet of woe. Now may it be your will, O God, of all generations, to pardon all our sins, to forgive all our wrongdoings, and to blot out all our transgressions. We sin against you when we sin against ourselves.
For our failures of truth, O God, we ask forgiveness.
For passing judgment without knowledge of the facts.
And for distorting facts to fit our fears.
For deceiving ourselves and others with half-truths.
And for pretending to emotions we do not feel.
For using the sins of others to excuse our own.
And for denying responsibility for our own misfortunes.
For condemning in our children the faults we tolerate in ourselves.
And for condemning our parents the faults we tolerate in ourselves.
We sin against you when we sin against ourselves.
For our failures of justice, O God, we ask forgiveness.
For keeping the poor in the chains of poverty.
And turning the deaf ears to cry of the oppressed.
For using violence to maintain our power.
And for using violence to bring about change.
For waging aggressive war.
And for the sin of appeasing oppressors.
For obeying criminal orders.
And for human silence and ignorance.
For poisoning the air and polluting land and sea.
And for all the evil means that we employ to accomplish good ends.
We sin against you when we sin against ourselves.
For our failures of love, O God, we ask forgiveness.
For confusing love with lust.
And for pursuing fleeting pleasures that cause lasting hurt.
For using others as a means to gratify our desires.
And as stepping stones to further our ambitions.
For withholding love to control those we claim to love.
And shining aside those whose youthful age disturbs us.
For hiding from others behind an armor of mistrust.
And for the cynicism which leads us to mistrust the reality of unselfish love.
Teach us to forgive ourselves for all these sins, O forgiving God, and help us to overcome them.
Continue on page 330. Yaltecha Hakanu Lefanecha, the sin you committed against you by malicious gossip. Altecha Hakanu Lefanecha,
The sin we committed against you by sexual immorality.
Altecha Hakanu Lefanecha,
The sin we committed against you by gluttony.
Altecha Hakanu Lefanecha,
The sin we committed against you by narrow-mindedness.
Altecha Hakanu Lefanecha,
The sin we committed against you by fraud and falsehood.
Altecha Hakanu Lefanecha,
And the sin we committed against you by hiding the false.
Altecha Hakanu Lefanecha,
The sin we committed against you by arrogance.
Altecha Hakanu Lefanecha,
The sin we committed against you by insolence.
Altecha Hakanu Lefanecha,
And the sin we committed against you by irreverence.
Altecha Hakanu Lefanecha,
The sin we committed against you by hypocrisy.
Altecha Hakanu Lefanecha,
The sin we committed against you by passing judgment on others.
Altecha Hakanu Lefanecha,
The sin we committed against you by exploiting the needy.
Altecha Hakanu Lefanecha,
The sin we committed against you by giving to bribes.
Altecha Hakanu Lefanecha,
The sin we committed against you by giving way to our hostile impulses.
Altecha Hakanu Lefanecha,
The sin we committed against you by running to do evil.
Liakulam Elohai Slicho, Slach Lanu, Lahal Lanu, Kapner Lanu.
Amen.
we to have survived is not an index of excellence, nor given the way things go, even of low cunning. Yet I have seen the wicked in great power, and spreading themselves like green bay trees, and the good as if they have never been. Their voices are blown away on the winter wind, and again we wander the wilderness. For our transgressions, which are confessed in the daily papers.
Except the God of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been the sun, we should have been like unto Gomorrah. And to what purpose, as the darkness closes about, and the salt streams in jelly fire, and as the ever present discern, here is the wilderness of comfort in which we are.
Shall we now consider the suspicious posture of our virtue, the deformed consequences of our love, the painful issues of our mildest acts? Shall we ask, where is there one mad, poor, and betrayed enough to find forgiveness for us, saying, none does offend, none I say, none. Listen, listen, but the voices are blown away, and yet this light, the work of thy fingers,
The soul is thine, and the body is thy creation. O have compassion on thy handiwork. The soul is thine, and the body is thine. O deal with us according to thy name. We come before thee relying on thy name. O deal with us according to thy name. For the sake of the glory of thy name, as the gracious and merciful God is thy name. O God, for thy name's sake we plead. Forgive us our sins, though they be very great.
please turn to page 334. On this day, eternal God, we come to you aware of our failings. Help us to cast our sin away and to find peace.
Source of our life, when in our folly we go astray, forgive us, our God, pardon us and cease.
In your great mercy, we place our faith. Your kindness is our support. In your forgiveness, we trust. Your deliverance is our hope.
Source of our life, we have sinned, forgive us, grant us pardon, O Son of God, for we have transgressed. You are the good from whom forgiveness flows, and with boundless love you respond to all who call upon you.
As in your love, you have been patient with this people from the time you led us out of Egypt to the present day. So in your great love, may you forgive your people now.
Vayomer Adonai salakti varecha. Vayomer Adonai salakti varecha. Vayomer Adonai salakti varecha.
And God said, I have pardoned in response to your plea. Who can say I have purified my heart and I am free from sin? Cast away all the evil you have done, and get yourselves a new heart and a new spirit.
A new heart will I give you, a new spirit put within you. I will remove the heart of stone from your flesh, and give you a heart that feels.
For thus says the eternal God, I myself will search for my sheep and seek them out.
As the shepherd seeks them out when they make a flock go astray, so will I seek out my sheep.
I will put my spirit within you and teach you to live by my laws.
For I desire love and not sacrifices, the knowledge of God rather than burnt offerings.
Wash yourselves, make yourselves clean, remove the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Cease to do evil, learn to do good.
Seek justice, correct oppression, defend the orphan, plead for the widow.
Seek your God, the eternal one, whom you shall find if you search with all your heart and soul.
Show us your love, O God, and grant us your help.
Adonai שומע תפילות בתקנונים. אתה שמע קולנו, אדוני אלוהינו, חוס ורחם הקולנו. שמע קולנו, Adonai Eloheinu, Kus Merachem Aleinu.
We turn to page 338 to begin our Torah service. And Moses said, "Oh, let me behold your glory." When God said, "I will make all my goodness pass before you, and will proclaim my name before you. Behold, there is a place by me where you shall stand upon the rock."
Romamu Adonai Eloheinu Vishkatamu Lahakosho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu Vishkatamu Lahakosho. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romamu. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romamu. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu Vishkatamu Lahakosho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu Vishkatamu Lahakosho.
Please rise.
Adonai, Adonai, Erafu Lechanu, Erechai, Erechesed Emet, Mesed Mesed Elohim, Nasheavon Le'ah. Adonai, Adonai, Erafu Lechanu, Erechai, Erechesed Emet, Mesed Mesed Elohim, Nasheavon Le'ah. Adonai, Adonai, El Rafum Bechanu, Erech Hamayim, Erech Hashem Emet, Yosef Esed Elohim, Nasheavon V'Teshav Echatecha, V'Nachem, V'Nachem.
The Eternal One is merciful and gracious, endlessly patient, loving and true, showing mercy to thousands, forgiving iniquity, transgression, and sin, and granting pardon.
Shema Kodei
Avinu Malkeinu, we have sinned before you.
Avinu Malkeinu, bring us back to you with full repentance. Avinu Malkeinu, forgive and pardon all our misdeeds. Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our children. Avinu Malkeinu, make amends to sickness or in famine. Avinu Malkeinu, spread us with blessing in the book of life. Avinu Malkeinu, let the year be a good year for us. Avinu Malkeinu, help us to exalt your name in the world. Avinu Malkeinu, for your mercy to cover our prayer.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Asay Manu, Asay Manu, Asay Manu, Takaba Esten, Eloshim. Asay Manu, Takaba Esten, Eloshim. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, be gracious and answer us,
For we have no merit. Treat us generously and with kindness, and be our help.
As for me, this is my covenant with them, says the Eternal One. Let not my spirit and the words that I have put in your mouth depart from you, nor from your children, or their children, from this time forth and forever.
Give me to smile.
Okay, let's go.
Please turn to page 342.
And the first reading is for the congregation. Yamdu al Torah Beit HaMidrash. For who let Adonai Torah, Baruch Adonai, Baruch Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'chorani mikol ha'amim, v'natanu b'torato, Baruch Adonai, Noten HaTorah.
אתם נתבין, היום כולכם לפני אדוני אלוהיכם, ראשיכם שביתכם, זקניכם ששת דרכם, כל איש ישראל. תפחם נשיכם בגרד אשר בקרב מחנך, מכתוב עצך עד שאב ממך, לברך בברית אדוני אלוהיך. ובעלתו אשר אדוני אלוהיך, קודש עמך היום, למען הקים אותך היום, לא לעם, והוא עד יהיה לך לאלוהים כאשר דיבר לך וכאשר נשבע לאבותיך, לאברהם, ליצחק, ליעקב.
I'd like to invite up Diane to read the English.
You stand this day, all of you, before your eternal God, the heads of your tribes, your elders and officers, everyone in Israel, men and women and children, and the strangers in your camp, from the one who chops your wood to the one who draws your water, to enter into the sworn covenant which your eternal God makes with you this day, in order to establish your henceforth as the people whose only God is eternal, as you have promised and as God has sworn to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah. Amen.
Please be seated.
Shoshana Abraham Basara, the Simcha.
Baruch Adonai HaMorah, Baruch Adonai HaMorah Elam Va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'chorani mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah. Amen.
ולא ייתכן לדברכם, אנוכי קדש, את הדברית הזאת ואת העלה הזאת, כי את אשר ישנו פה עמנו. עמד היום לפני אדוני אלוהינו, ואש אשר עננו פה עמנו היום.
And it is not with you alone that I make this sworn covenant. I make it with those who are standing here with us today before our God, and equally with all who are not here with us today.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah. Amen.
Okay. Talmud, Eileen and Michael Gotthoff.
Baruch et Adonai, Barak.
Baruch Adonai HaMorah Elam Va'ed,
Asher Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'charanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato.
Baruch atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah.
For this commandment which I command you this day is not too hard for you, nor too remote. It is not in heaven that you should say, who will go up for us to heaven and bring it down to us, that we may do it? Nor is it beyond the sea that you should say, who will cross the sea for us and bring it over to us, that we may do it? No, it is very near to you, in your mouth and in your heart, and you can do it.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah t'neh, Baruch atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah.
Talmud, Chava ben Melech Bat Yada.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach, Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'charanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen. See, I have set before you this day of life and good, or death and evil. For I command you this day to love the eternal, to walk in the ways and to keep the commandments, laws, and teachings of your God, that you may live and increase, and that your God may bless you in the land that you are about to occupy. But if your hearts turn away, and you do not listen, such a minister, but let yourself be lured away. I'm sorry.
Lured away to worship other gods and serve them, I warn you now that you will perish. You will not live long in the land which you are crossing the Jordan to enter and inherit.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah t'emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen.
Talmud, Model David ben Nachum Avraham Halevi, the Basha, and the Talmud, Yocheved Yosef Atanalea Bat Nachum and Rivka.
For who is Adonai Torah? Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'charanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that I have set before you life or death, blessing or curse. Choose life, therefore, that you and your descendants may live, by loving your God, listening to God's voice, and holding fast to the one who is your life and the length of your days. Then you shall endure in the land of the eternal promise to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah t'emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Merciful God, grant strength and confidence to those who are ill in mind, body, or spirit. Give wisdom and skill to those who help in healing. Help all of us who share the anxiety of their illnesses to be brave, cheerful, and hopeful. Inspire us with courage and faith. Grant your blessing to all who call upon you. Merciful God, we pray to you for the recovery of Barry Berger, Meyer Oberstein, Lynn Curran, Leslie Williams and Polly Coe, Michael Petrie, Liz Oakley, Jim Todak, Kenneth Kleinberg, Richard Bumtro, Gary Chamel and Caitlin Berry. From our congregational family, Charles Stolzenberg, Bob and Lady Maya, Elaine Pasternak, Mel Berger, Rita Slotnick, myself, Bonnie Marini. Are there any others for whom prayer should be offered?
Mary Johnson and Martha Octaviani.
Robert Berger.
My sister Barbara Fryer.
May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. Baruch atah Adonai Rafeh HaOlim. We praise you, Adonai, source of healing, and together we say, Amen. Let us join together in singing the Shemera to pray for the healing of our friends, loved ones, and neighbors.
May the source of strength, who bless the works before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishemera, Imotenu, Mikor HaBracha, Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Please rise. Mezot HaTorah, Asher Moshe, Mikvei B'nai Yisrael, Yadonai, Le'amoshe. Torah, 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 Tzivah, Manu, Moshe. Torah, 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 Tzivah, Manu, Moshe. Torah, 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 Tzivah, Manu, Moshe. Torah, 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 Tzivah, Manu, Moshe. What? Keep going. Torah, 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 Tzivah, Manu, Moshe. Torah, 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 Tzivah, Manu, Moshe. Please be seated.
We continue on page 346 with the Haftarah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'charvanu v'kilim tovim, v'ratzah v'divreihem v'ne'amarim v'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher habatorah v'koshat avdeu v'Yisrael amo v'yeh ha'emet tzedek. Anybody like that? Come on, read us the Haftarah on page 347.
Middle of page 347. God says, cry with a full throat, do not hold back, let your voice resound like a shofar. declare to my people their transgression, and to the house of Jacob their sin. Yes, they seek me daily, as though eager to learn my ways, as if they were a people that does what is right and has not forsaken the way of its God. They ask of me the right way, as though delighting in the nearness of God. When we fast, you say, why do you pay no heed? Why, when we afflict ourselves, do you take no notice? Because on your fast day you pursue your own affairs while you oppress all your workers. Because your fasting leads only to strife and discord, while you strike with cruel fists. Such a way of fasting on a day will not help you to be heard on high. Is this the fast I have chosen, a day of self-affliction? Bowing your head like a reed and covering yourself with sackcloth and ashes. Is this what you call a fast, a day acceptable to the eternal? Is not this the fast I have chosen? To unlock the shackles of injustice, to loosen the ropes of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, and to tear every yoke apart. Surely it is to share your bread with the hungry and to bring the homeless poor into your house. When you see the naked, to cover them, never withdrawing yourself from your own kin. Then shall your light break forth like the dawn, and your healing shall quickly blossom. Your righteous ones will walk before you. The glory of the Eternal One will be your rear guard. Then when you call, the Eternal One will answer. When you cry, God will say, here I am. If you remove lawlessness from your midst, the pointing finger, the malicious word, if you give yourself to the hungry and satisfy the needs of the afflicted, then your light will shine in the darkness, and your night become bright as the noon. The Eternal One will guide you always, filling your throat in parched lands and renewing your body's strength. You shall be like a garden overflowing with water, like a spring that never fails. Some of you shall rebuild the ancient ruins, rebuilding the foundations of ages past. You shall be called the repairer of the breach, restorer of lights to dwell in. If you keep from trampling the Sabbath, from pursuing your own affairs on my holy day, if you call the Sabbath a delight, the Eternal One's holy day honored, if you honor it abstaining from journeys, from carrying on your own affairs or speaking of them, then you shall delight in the Eternal One. I will make you to ride upon the heights of the earth, and I will feed you with the portion of Jacob, your father. The Eternal One has spoken.
Baruch atah Adonai Elohim melech haolam, tzur kol ha'olamim, tzadik v'hadorot, ha'el v'ne'emar, v'yomer v'yosef, v'debar v'chayek, shechol v'kara, emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah, al ha'abudah, al ha'nivuim, v'al yom ha'kippurim hazeh, shenatan lanu Adonai Elohim, l'minchil, the Kavod, Tifarata, all Kol, Adonai Elohim, Menachim Modim, Merachim Otah, the Barak Simcha, Torkad, Tamid Bimo, Tamid Dolam Ba'ed, the Barak Et, Kolam Ba'al, Baruch atah Adonai, Melech, Mochal, Soblach, the Avod no Techa, Tinu, the Avod note Avo, Beit Israel, Uma Ahi, the Asino Tenu, the Kol Shana, Ushana, Melech of Kol Haaretz, Yekadesh Israel, the Yom HaKippurim. Please turn to page 354.
rise. Eternal God, we pray to you for the whole house of Israel, scattered over the earth, yet bound together by a common history and united by a common heritage of faith and love. Be with our brothers and sisters whose lives are made hard because they are Jews. Give them strength to endure and lead them soon from bondage to freedom, from darkness to light. Bless this holy congregation and all who serve it, together with all other holy congregations in all lands near and far. Uphold us, shield us, and bestow upon us abundant life and health and peace and happiness in all our dwelling places. Bring to fulfillment the blessing of Moses, the eternal your God, make you 1,000 times as many as you are, and bless you as God has promised you. Amen. O God, send your healing to the sick, your comfort to all who are of pain or anxiety, your tender love to the sorrowing hearts among us. Be their refuge through their time of trial as they pass from weakness to strength, from suffering to consolation, from lonely fear to the courage of faith. Amen.
We pray for all who hold positions of leadership and responsibility in our national life. Let your blessings rest upon them and make them responsive to your will, so that our nation may lead to the world an example of justice and compassion.
Deepen our love for our country and our desire to serve it. Strengthen our power of self-sacrifice for our nation's welfare. Teach us to uphold its good name by our right conduct. Cause us to see clearly that the well-being of our nation is in the hands of all the citizens. Imbue us with zeal for the cause of liberty in our own land and in all lands. And help us always to keep our homes safe from affliction, strife, and war. Amen. We pray for the land of Israel and its people. May its borders know peace, its inhabitants tranquility. May the bonds of faith and faith, which unite the Jews of all lands, be a source of strength to Israel and to us all. God of all lands and ages, answer our constant prayer with Zion once more glow with light for us and for all the world. And let us say, Amen.
Halu et Shem Adonai, Ki Neskad Shemo Levado. Let us praise the eternal God, whose name alone is exalted. This is the covenant I will make with the house of Israel in days to come. I will put my Torah within them and engrave it on their hearts. I will be their God, and they shall be my people. No longer shall anyone need to teach a neighbor to know the Eternal One, for they shall know me, young and old.
Hello. Thank you for being here today on Yom Kippur. You probably expected a short and very stubborn redhead who probably shouldn't be here. But you were stuck with me today for the foreseeable future. When Jillian's health started going south this week, I realized that the solemn duty of writing and presenting a message might fall on my shoulders. That didn't scare me though. I consider myself decent at writing in the way that I actually enjoy it, and public speaking is pretty fun. But when I sat down at the computer in a Hail Mary coffee-infused frenzy, which I just realized probably should be Hail Moses coffee-infused frenzy. Anyway, I didn't know where to start. For one, as many of you know, I am not technically Jewish. But, as Harriet said last night in her presidential message, I am very proud to call this congregation my spiritual home, and it really is a true family. I'd also like to take this moment to formally classify myself as Jewish-ish, meaning that I do subscribe to all the major foundations of Judaism, and I am extremely jealous of everyone who can touch the Torah, because I'm also a history nerd, and I'm not allowed to touch it. Anyway, the real problem was that Yom Kippur is a vital holy day. It's so important in Judaism, and with so many excellent topics already penned about it, I worried how I could live up to the expectation and deliver a quality message. After all, this isn't jazz, where sloppy noodling and making it up is the norm. Anyway, so I did the first thing that any 20-something millennial would do: Google time. Side note, if there is some sort of afterlife punishment that exists, I am certain that it involves reviewing all of your most embarrassing and awkward Google searches in painstaking detail. I'm glad that, for the time being, my quirky queries are a secret to all of you. But I will entrust you with one of them. Just last night, I had to Google an historic versus ahistoric because I was concerned about the grammatical accuracy of the usage. Just so you know, both are acceptable because of their common use. The more you know. Anyway, what I found resonated with me. Rabbi Marshall Meyer says of Yom Kippur, most of us are busy hiding. The whole art of living is to find out where we are hiding, go out and face life, find goals that are beyond the banality of daily living. Just like our weird Google searches, most of us hide things in our daily lives. We all have become exceptionally good at sweeping things under the proverbial rug. Is the budget a little tight this month? That's okay, I just won't look at the bank account today. I missed a call from my cousin? I'll get back to them tomorrow, it's probably fine. I think my coworker might be annoyed at me. I'll just give them the weekend to cool off. I'm sure it'll be fine on Monday. Sweeping things under the rug like this is no way to live. It places all of your focus on the short term. And although you may be aware of the long-term risks, this way of living convinces you that the consequences of your subversive sweeping will never come to light. Whether you know it or not, that little voice in the back of your head starts telling you that you are invincible. I'm not proud to say that I'm an expert on sweeping. It wasn't until I met Jillian that I realized my way of upbringing was very different from most families. I'm an only child, and I thought it was totally normal that I never, not once, saw my parents have an argument. I know they happened, but it was never modeled for me. Healthy conflict resolution wasn't present in my house because problems were solved behind closed doors in hushed tones late at night. Naturally, I thought that's what people are supposed to do. Save face and sweep issues away into a private moment when no one else was around. To say that I was shocked and afraid when Jillian and I had our first argument in public is an understatement. I was mortified. In high school and college, I did a hefty amount of sweeping. Sure, I was young and learning how to be a kind person, but I often failed to address issues head on. I didn't know how to do that. I'll attribute a lot of that to my career in music and in opera. I'm sure you all know that opera has a lot of big egos, which is true. And although music can be the best gift of all, it also can shred your hopes, aspirations, and spirit in ways that you've never thought possible. Jillian and I attended a summer program for opera in 2014. Long story short, it turned out to be a miserable experience. It was the primary short-term impetus that made Jillian decide to pursue opening songbirds and give up a full-time career in opera. I have no idea why, but I thought it was a great idea to go back by myself next year. Alone in the desert, surrounded by some of the most tortured sweepers, all I saw, as far as the eye could see, was sweeping. Singers swallowing their emotions and crying in their rooms after rehearsal. Directors getting in fights with colleagues and not speaking for days. Verbal backstabbing without resolution. How much of that pain can be avoided if people just talk to each other? If one person took a tiny step to start a conversation? For several years now, Jillian and I have been meeting with a counselor to work on all sorts of things in our lives. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Through years of hard work, that counselor helped teach me how to retire my broom and give up sweeping for good. I'm proud that I no longer hide things in my life, but it is a constant struggle. Much like an addict or a substance abuser, the addiction is never magically cured. Those pathways in the brain are well worn and inviting. I bet that any counselor would say that the majority of her job is helping clients face their fears and worries head on, instead of finding ways to craftily turn from them. Rabbi Marshall, the inspiration of this message, is also quoted in saying that most of his counseling clients are busy finding ways to avoid confronting their struggles. How much time and stress would we save if we all approached problems more directly? How much smoother would our social interactions and relationships be if we truly met each other face to face and spoke in earnest? I will never be able to say enough positive things about counseling and its effects on mental health in today's world. I hope that my soon-to-be son will grow up in a country where counseling is readily available and accessible to everyone. It's losing its negative stigma, but there is still a lot of work to be done. An amazing example of its benefits happened to Jillian and I recently. Our newest Songbird employee, Lauren, told us that she would be out of town several Fridays ago. It was a super last-minute trip, and she seemed really worried about it. After some gentle nosing, she disclosed that her counselor gave her an idea of how to fix an ancient rug sweeping mishap. 6 years ago, Lauren and her best friend since childhood had a falling out. It was quite nasty, and many feelings were hurt. Lauren said that the two of them were like siblings prior to their conflict, but they had not spoken since, and the hole that her friend's absence left weighed on Lauren's spirit every single day. So, she flew to Texas. She bought a plane ticket, and she messaged her friend out of the blue. She didn't disclose why she would be in Texas, but she asked if her friend would be willing to meet for lunch. The friend agreed. Long story short, Lauren and her friend are now closer than they ever were in the past. Her Texas lunch turned into a 3-day weekend that eventually culminated in matching tattoos to mark the occasion. Great, if you like that, cool. All because one person bravely decided to peek under that rug and confront the dirt that had been hiding there. I admit that I have relationships in my own life that could use this treatment. Lauren's courage made me stop and think, what would happen if I did the same? What would happen if I contacted that friend from college who moved away? What about that colleague with whom I had a falling out? What unsaid things need to be aired to make the rug lie flat again? I hope that I have the bravery this year to reconnect with at least one person from my past and earn closure. I don't know what I will find, but wrestling with that uncertainty is a vital step in living a sweep-free life. As many of you know, I also have an expensive addiction that involves building instruments, mainly guitars. At any time, my kitchen table and garage workbench are cluttered with parts, sawdust, and blueprints. You can probably imagine that building something with precision on your kitchen table isn't easy, and I make a lot of mistakes. One hard lesson that I learned in instrument making is that those errors don't ever go away. That tiny scratch on the front of the guitar won't be filled in and smoothed by the lacquer. It will just be magnified. It won't look better when it's buffed and polished. It will be even more obvious. I've learned the hard way that problems need to be tackled head on as soon as they arise. Brushing them under the rug for a later day will only make the rug bunch up under our own feet. What things in your life tug at your heart and your conscience? What memories and relationships do you smooth over without getting to the root of the matter? Is that problem being magnified instead of corrected? Even reading this paper and speaking these words makes my heart uneasy because I know that I still have work to do. Studies have shown that the most successful achievers not only make tangible goals, but frequently revisit them and adjust. At home, Jillian and I have a large whiteboard with a list of personal goals for each of us on it. Every so often, we get to scratch off something we've accomplished. That feels pretty good. But more often than not, our old goals get replaced by new ones because something has changed. I hope that each of us can make a similar list for this year. A list filled with new adventures, forgiveness, health, and peace. So this Yom Kippur, I challenge you all to stop hiding. Stop hiding from your dreams and aspirations. Stop hiding from your fears and your worries. Stop hiding from resolution and closure that is waiting with open arms. Have a conversation with a loved one. Rekindle an old friendship. Tell a trusted friend a wild dream and a goal that you are harboring. I challenge you to break the monotony of the day-to-day and do something different. Make a new habit. Go out and with relentless pursuit, find that love. In the words of Hillel, if not now, when? Yom Kippur is about forgiveness and atonement, but it's also our chance to start anew. And now, I'm told that I should say, Gemar Tov.
Who wants to do yours? Yes,
Diane Langer, trustee. Congregation of Payne. I would like to give a special thank you to all those who have made a special donation to the Flower Fund. David Rose, Bill and Diane Langer, in honor of their grandchildren, Allie and Barbara Kelly in Chicago, and my other grandchildren, Avery and Gracie Langer in Fort Lauderdale. So I can do that. And the entire Langer and Kelly families. The Wood family in honor of Sue Chanukin Rubenstein, Marilyn Wood, Reva Rubenstein, and Helen Zubik. Mothers and grandmothers of Debbie and Douglas Wood. Mary and Bonnie Marie in honor of their grandson, Henry T-shirt. There are also beautiful copies of our annual book of remembrance. If you weren't able to grab a copy on your way in, there are more copies by the front door. Our afternoon service begins about 2:30 and is immediately followed by our Easter memorial service. We expect our Easter memorial service to begin at 4:15, but please arrive by 4 p.m. at the latest. Late entry is not permitted for this solemn service. Our concluding service is set to immediately follow Easter, ending with Havdalah. Our break the fast will follow our concluding service. Reservations are required for the break fast. We would like to wish David and Deborah Rose a very happy 25th anniversary. As many of you know, we do not have mandatory dues for membership, but instead we rely on charitable contributions. Your donations of any amount help us to continue bringing enriching and inspirational services to you every week for Shabbat, in addition to our holidays. As it is our new fiscal and Jewish year, we are also asking for pledges. With our pledge, we are able to better plan out our year ahead. If you have any questions about finances, please speak to our treasurer, Mike Bain. However you decide to help Congregation B'Chaim, we are extremely grateful for your generous support, so thank you. We will be having a regular scheduled Shabbat service this upcoming Friday, October 11th at Sandros at 8 p.m., and we hope to see you all there. If you're currently on our email list and would like to hear about upcoming events and going on, please either leave your email address at the sheet bound by the entrance or subscribe on our newsletter by visiting us on our website. We're extremely grateful for all the wonderful support we are receiving from you and are happy that you have decided to join us for this day of awe. As always, don't forget to keep up to date with us on our Facebook page and our website. On behalf of Congregation B'Chaim, may you be sealed in the book of life, and may you have an easy fast.
Please turn to page 357. And join me in singing, I know. I totally have the wrong version. Here we go. Hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-yo. Hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-yo. Hi-yo, 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 hi-yo. Hi-yo, 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 hi-yo. Hi-yo, hi-yo. I-yo, someday do. Amen. Hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-yo. Hi-yo, hi-yo, hi-yo. Hi-yo, 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 hi-yo. I go to my revenue. Amen. I don't. I come to God, amen. No more told. Our afternoon service starts at 2:30. You're welcome to stay in this room if you'd like to. There's some nice walking around that you can do in gross weather. Otherwise, we'll see you at 2:30.
I was gonna wear, I haven't put a